This is the Vigilante video game review of Dead Space. Well, let me tell you about Dead Space. I haven't been so pleasantly surprised about a game in a long, long time. Horror games, even though I like them, I liked several of them, the big ones that have been out there. It's not my favorite genre of game or movie, so I was a little dubious. It's sci-fi, I like that, so I was thinking, I might like it, I might not, let's check it out. So I played it and I was totally in love with it. It's an awesome game. The mechanics, the gameplay, the story, the setting, the environment, the look, the stuff that you'd expect, like Zero G and Vacuum of Space stuff, all really good. Very fun, not overdone, not underdone. Just really, really an awesome game. So I gotta give it a complete recommendation to buy it and play it, especially if you enjoy this kind of game. If you hate sci-fi or horror or this kind of mix of action and puzzles, you might not like it as much as someone who does. But I'm not a huge fan of those games. I like it. I like those mechanics. But I thought the horror might kind of put me off a little bit. But no, it was awesome. I do have a couple criticisms for it though. One thing is that it was intended to be played twice. It was really set up and intended to be played twice. It took me about 12 hours. I wouldn't say it's a short game, but it's not a long game either. And right after you complete it, you get all these prizes and new suits and stuff like this, and it's very intended to be played twice. Which I have nothing wrong with games that are intended to be played twice. Replayability is a big thing. I don't know if it's a big selling thing, but it's certainly something that I look for. And certain games like, say, Dead Rising really do replay well. There's really a lot of value to playing it twice. Unfortunately, in this game, and the type of mechanics and the type of story and that kind of thing, it's not really that fun to play twice. I started playing it twice, and it was just to try to see my new suit and to kind of see some of the new stuff I got. But in those kind of games, if you've seen the environment, you've seen the creatures, you've seen the scares, doing it a second time really loses a lot of impact. And for me, it's not really a replayable type game. So unless you're a total nut or you really like the combat or something, I think that all the puzzles obviously are going to be trivial once you've done them once. It loses a lot. So I don't know if that was as well thought out as it could have been. The second thing that I thought about the game, which is very subjective in a way, but I think makes kind of reasonable sense, is the story. Now, the story is good. Don't get me wrong. It's good acting, good scripting, and that kind of thing. And there's twists and turns in it, and I don't want to spoil anything. But it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Once you've seen the game at the very end and kind of put all the pieces together and what you were doing and who you're talking to and all that kind of stuff, it kind of loses a little something because it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and you're kind of left at the very end kind of wondering exactly what was going on. Was it this? Was it that? Why was this happening? Some things like that just don't really make a sense. And even on the second playthrough, where a lot of times when this happens, it's kind of cool because you can see it now with knowing what the end is like. So you're saying, oh, okay, now this makes sense, and oh yeah, now I understand where this guy is coming from, and things like that, which you can also get if you read a book twice or something. Unfortunately, just the opposite happens. It kind of makes less sense. You kind of see what was going on, and you go, oh yeah, well this makes even less sense now that I know the ending. And you see something else and go, oh, this kind of makes even no sense. I thought it made sense at the time. Now it doesn't make any sense. So those are some things that I think could have been improved. I'm not sure why they did it that way. It almost seems like it's a kind of a little bit of a lazy way of writing a story. You want a story with kind of twists and turns and stuff like that, and sometimes if you don't tie them all back to the things that you set up at the beginning, some people won't notice it or just kind of gloss over it or say, I don't care. But if you're really, a stickler for story, you kind of think you really want to understand what's going on and kind of get the backstory and kind of figure out, all the motivations for the characters, and you see things that just don't make sense, it kind of throws you off a little bit. But again, total recommendation. Awesome game, fun. Every second you're playing it is fun. The story works while you're playing it. Maybe it doesn't really hold up or answer all the questions that you want answered, but still, it's it makes sense as you're playing it, and it's all logical, and it doesn't say like, oh, this is crazy. Why did this happen? Nothing like that. So definite 2 thumbs up, big buy, and talk to you later. Vigilante Center out.